Chapter 6, Standard 11th, Commercial Correspondence, that is letters of order, their execution and cancellation. So in the previous chapter, we have already seen that the buyer will start by writing the inquiry letter, and the seller will respond to the inquiry letter by giving all the information which the buyer is requiring. Now the buyer will collect all such letters which he has received from various sellers. He will analyze it and he will decide from which seller he wants to buy the items. So after comparing all the price list and catalog, the buyer will decide with whom he wants to place an order. Word order means command, but in the commercial letter, order means a request to send the goods and raw material. In the business world, an order is also legally binding. That is, once if you have given an order, then the seller can hold you liable if if you are backtracking on the order or if there is a loss faced by the seller. So let us see what are the important points to be considered while writing a letter of order. The reference number or the letter number should be given of the inquiry letter and the reply of the inquiry letter. Also mention that you are agreeing with the price, terms and condition, etc., which has been mentioned in the reply to inquiry letter. So you have to give a sort of acceptance for the prices. Next, mention the quality and quantity of the goods which are required. Next, describe the goods completely, and if there is any special instruction, you should mention it. Fourth, we have already mentioned the price in the reply to inquiry letter, but it is always safe to repeat it in the letter of order also. So always mention the price of product. Fifth is give any specific instruction about specific packing. Tell about the size of packing which you want. You say that I am ordering 500 kg of rice and I want it in a packing of 2 kg of packaging. If you are making any advance payment, then mention the details of the payment, details of the check, demand draft, or in case you are doing RTGS, then mention that details. Seventh is mention the convenient mode of transport. Eighth is when it is sort of a recommendation that if you are purchasing different brands or different products, then it is better to give it in a table form, in a tabular form for more convenience. Ninth is mention the time limit within which you want the products. 10th is in the end you have to give an assurance that if you are satisfied with your services and your goods, then in future you will receive bulk orders. Next is letter of acknowledgement. Now after receiving the letter of order, what the seller will do first, he will write a letter of acknowledgement, because he will be delivering goods after say 15 days or 1 month, whatever time frame you have given it. So the customer cannot wait for 1 month to know whether you have started to execute the order. So you just need to give like a sort of acceptance of order, that is known as a letter of acknowledgement. In the letter of acknowledgement, the seller has to thank the customer for the order for showing his interest. Time of receiving of the letter of order, the seller is not in a position to deliver the goods. Suppose he does not have sufficient stock, then at the time of writing of a letter of acknowledgement, he should mention that he does not have sufficient stock or he has some other problem. In this case, he can either ask for a time extension or he may say that I will not be able to execute your order, but thank you for your inquiry. Next is letter of execution of order. Now after the seller has prepared all the goods and he is ready to dispatch the goods, at that time he will give the letter of execution of the order. That is, he has executed the order, he has completed the order and now he is sending it. With the letter of execution of order, you have to attach the transportation receipt, the railway receipt, bills, etc. Now, what are the points to be considered while writing letter of acknowledgement and letter of execution of order? First is mention the reference number, date and description of the goods which have to be sent. Second is the goods which have to be sent should be described. Third is you have to attach all the bills, transport receipt, delivery receipt, etc. and you have to give clear instruction about those. You have to mention the details for payment. Clearly mention that all the special instruction given by the buyer has been followed. If the goods are insured, then attach the insurance receipt also. And lastly, thank the buyer and express your desire to work with him in a future also. Now, letter of cancellation of order. So at the time of letter of acknowledgement also, we had seen that if the seller is not in a position to give the goods, to supply the goods, then he can ask for time extension. But suppose he will not be able to do it with the time extension also, then it is always preferable that he cancel the order. Usually no one will prefer to cancel the order because it will create a very bad impression and it will harm the status of the buyer. However, there are some unavoidable circumstances. Like suppose if the workers of the factories have gone on a strike, then the buyer will not be able to the seller will not be able to produce the goods. So in that case, he will have to cancel the order. Or suppose there is a fire or accident in the factory and the factory has been closed down, then even in that case the goods cannot be produced, so he will have to cancel the order. Now there are some instances in which the buyer will also cancel the order. It means that first the buyer gave the letter of order, but after that he will write another letter in which he will be cancelling the order. So buyer usually does not do this, but he does this. Suppose in case he has given an order, but the seller is not dispatching the goods. He has given a time limit of 15 days, but the goods were not received within 15 days. He gave a reminder letter. That okay, fine, you are not able to do it for 15 days, give me in the next 5 days. Even after that the seller is not responding, then after repeated reminder also, then in that case the buyer will be forced to cancel the order. Next is when you are ordering the same type of goods again and again. Okay, it happens in businesses. Suppose it is a factory, manufacturing factory, then they will be in a need of screws and nuts, and this orders of screws and nuts are usually placed regularly, like it is placed every month or every second month or every third month. Whenever the stock of screws or nuts will go down, they will issue a repeat order to the same supplier. Sometimes it happens that the employee made some mistake and you already have the goods in stock, but still you gave a repeat order. So in that case, because of this mistake of the employees, you will have to cancel the order. Third, that you have given a order of a good which is seasonal in nature, and suppose the demand of this seasonal good goes down, suppose it goes out of fashion or the season is already over, then the buyer will have to cancel the order. So what are the points to be kept in my mind while drafting letters of cancellation? First is the letter of cancellation should be very urgent. So as soon as you have decided that you want to cancel, first thing you have to do is send an email or call the person and you cancel the order orally first. And as soon as you do that, you have to draft your letter and send it by post also. Or in case you have done it through email, that is sufficient. So it is very urgent in nature. Second is always explain in detail the reason for cancellation of order. Next is if the buyer is cancelling the order because of the mistake of the seller. That is, we saw an example that the buyer has given reminder and still the seller is not dispatching the goods in time. That is the mistake of the seller. So if the buyer is cancelling order because of mistake of seller, then that has to be mentioned in the letter in a very detailed way, in a very detailed and clear way. If the customer has already made an advance payment towards the order, then he should tell the seller to make the refund and he should give the details for refund of payment. If the seller is cancelling because he does not have stock, if he is not able to manufacture stock, then he should be clear about it. If he is able to provide the stock at a later date, then he should mention the date when the new stock will be available. Next is, in the beginning of the letter, it should start with an apology, and in the end it should end with an assurance that in future full cooperation will be given, and even in current situation full cooperation will be forward. With this we end today's chapter, and in the next session we will see sample letters of all three kinds.